So the UK has officially added age verification laws into the country, so now every app you've ever used is asking you to verify your age using your ID or your face. And everyone is generally freaking out about this because it kind of happened overnight. And on top of that, it's like every single app is now asking them to verify their age, which is one, annoying, and two, a little concerning. Like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook generally aren't asking people to verify their age. They say they have systems in place to kind of determine if someone's above the age of 18 or not. But on YouTube, for example, I imagine if you try to watch age-restricted content, it would make you verify your identity if you are in the UK or in some states that have age verification as a requirement. And X.com or Twitter generally took, I think, either the best or worst approach depending on how you look at this. Basically, Twitter said they couldn't determine if someone was under the age of 18, so they just blocked all not safe for work content on the website if you live in the UK. So if you want to view anything that's been determined as not safe for work, which is like a lot of things that shouldn't be determined that way, you have to verify your age on Twitter, and there's no way around that. That's the only way to see content that Twitter has deemed not safe for work. And with my cynical worldview, part of me thinks that Twitter only did this to collect data on people when they scan their faces or submit their IDs, but who knows, okay? That's probably not the case. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I do think it's a little weird, though, that out of all these platforms, Twitter's the only one that couldn't figure out how to generally verify if someone's above the age of 18 or not. There might be some kind of specifics I don't understand with this, but yeah, Twitter's like kind of an outlier. And Discord is also requiring verification to determine if someone is above the age of 18. It seems like Discord took the only facial scan approach, which scans someone's face and determines if they're above the age of 18, which has its own problems. Like some people are 18 and it says they're not because it's an AI facial scanner. It's not great. Like, it turns out if you just open Death Stranding and record the main character's face, I forgot his name, I'm sorry. But if you record his face and then have it do the commands on screen, they'll just verify you as an adult because these systems are stupid and bad. But even though they're dumb and bad, the UK still has put them in the law, so they have to exist in some way, shape, or form. And this also includes like things like Xbox, which is gonna be adding age verification in the future, which is kind of crazy to me. I seriously can't think of many reasons as to why you would need to age verify on Xbox. Like, is it rated M games that are the problem? I really don't know. So the Xbox verification portion is actually worse than initially thought. Basically, if you don't verify your age before mid-2026, you won't be able to add people or invite randoms to games. You'll be friends only, which is kind of crazy. At the very least, Xbox gives you the option to use your credit card to verify, which just makes the most sense. They already have your credit card, but they also say they'll use ID verification, which I just don't recommend you use if you have any other option. I would not trust Microsoft with my ID on their servers. But generally speaking, I am not a fan of these changes, and I think most people are not a fan of these changes because, one, we don't want to send our IDs to companies. It just sounds like a bad idea. Like, they can't even keep our passwords secure. Do you really expect them to keep our IDs or pictures of our faces secure? Because I sure don't. And these laws go beyond just verifying someone's age. They also require these companies to make algorithmic changes to their websites to not show content that might be age inappropriate to people. So I guess, for example, if you're like 13 on YouTube, it's not going to show you like gun content or something. I imagine that's kind of how this will go, but to be honest, I see this backfiring pretty hard. Like on YouTube, for example, if adults never see content that kids are watching, that's gonna be a problem. Like, we already had ElsaGate because what kind of adult is gonna stumble upon this kind of content? This just kind of like makes it worse because if adults and kids have like zero chance of being recommended the same kind of video, how would you ever find stuff like ElsaGate? You just probably won't. So I definitely see this causing some more issues than they solve, and I also just don't see this as being a good solution to the problem. Like, as a user on these platforms, I don't see how giving my ID or my facial scan to all of them will benefit me, really. Like, this just seems like a really poorly thought out and bad idea, and I really hope it does get repealed. I saw a petition to like reconsider it, but who knows what will happen with that. Because the claim thing with these laws is to like to protect children online, right? The problem is you think kids aren't gonna use the Death Stranding cheat to get through Discord bypasses? I really doubt they wouldn't. Like, this is the exact thing a kid would do if they got home from school and wanted to use Discord and were like, huh, how can I use Discord still? Oh, let me try this. Like, that's what they would do. They would do this exact thing. And even when it comes to ID verification, you could just make a fake ID and send it to them. I'm not saying you should do that because it's probably illegal, but I can't imagine it's super hard to just send a fake ID to these companies and they'll just verify you as being an adult because they just checked the birth date and that's probably it. Like, I highly doubt they're looking at the ID to make sure it's like super real or not. They probably just check the date and move on if it's a guy reviewing it, and if it's an AI, they're just gonna check a date and move on. So this is kind of like, this is a joke system. And there's been similar laws passed in the US in like select states, like Florida and Texas both have one of these. It is less overreaching though. The content on the platform has to be over 33.3% not safe for work content to be required to verify. So basically just like, you know, these kinds of websites. Now, I still don't like those laws, but at least they're better than just like a sweeping verification on every single website to ever exist. And I think these laws are especially dumb because when you look at like these countries and their VPN usage, every time one of these laws gets implemented, they just skyrocket because no one wants to deal with this. And I imagine over the course of time, more and more people are just gonna start using VPNs and VPNing the places with the most favorable laws because yeah, this is stupid. Like, why would you verify your age? You could just VPN to a different country and not have this problem. It doesn't make much sense. Now, generally speaking, I don't want to give my ID or my face to any of these kinds of companies. If there was something else to verify my identity as a human being, I would probably be on board with it, assuming it was all secure and everything like that. That's my big concern. It's the fact that over the last like 20-ish years, every single one of these companies has proved they cannot be trusted holding onto any data whatsoever. Like in the US, for example, Experian and like every big credit card-esque company has lost all of their data. That is the most important data for every single American, and they lost it numerous times. Why would I trust any of these kinds of companies with my face and ID? It doesn't make any sense. Like, I agree kids being online is a problem, and kids being adult spaces online is especially a problem. But making all your law-abiding citizens verify their identity and give their information to a company that will most definitely lose it is a bad idea. It's a bad solution. Like, I think a great start to getting kids off the internet is just stop letting them use their phones in schools, unironically. Cutting down the amount of time they can use their phone will probably help a lot with all of this, okay? That is a great first step, and I wish it was implemented everywhere, but it's not as of now. But my big problem with all of this is I can't trust any of these companies to hold on to my data. I just think it's a bad idea, especially with the recent T-hack I talked about where a bunch of people's faces got leaked and they said they would delete them afterwards. Every time a company says, we delete this afterwards, I just don't believe them. There's too many instances of things that were supposed to be deleted being hacked and sold online. I just don't trust it. But at the same time, I can see some kind of need to verify a real person as a real person, regardless if it's like verifying they're an adult or not, just purely because of the amount of AI slop online now. It'd be nice to know if someone was a real person legitimately. The problem is I just don't see a way to do that that most people would be okay with because yeah, these companies will take your data and will use it for their own gain. Like Sam Altman talked about this whole thing of like scanning your iris and then having that to verify you're like a real person, and it sounds great, but I don't want OpenAI to have my eye scan. I just don't want them to have that. OpenAI and Palantir and all these like recent AI companies are probably the most evil companies to like ever exist. I don't want to give them my data. Like, I already avoid using ChatGPT because I don't want it to use my data to like train itself. I don't want it to do that. Like, I'm sure it's already trained itself off of something I've made, but I don't want to do it more. And like Sam Altman's the last guy I want to have my ID and stuff. But yeah, these age verification laws are generally a pretty bad idea. I think they're gonna backfire pretty hard. People will either use VPNs or fake the verification because it's really easy to fake the verification. But yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe if you're new. Click the intro down, check out all my content, and have a good one.